got Whiskey, and eventually we're gonna make a mounted shooting horse out of him. But right now what we got is just a bunch of confidence issues and giving them a start, kind of starting all over with them, getting a good foundation on them. So we've been throwing the kitchen sink at him this week and getting him to staying still if he gets nervous. But the biggest thing, you know, he had a big fleet instinct. He wanted to run and get away from something that made him nervous. So we've done a bunch of sacking out. We'll show a couple of those things. The other thing we got on here is we just got a snaffle bit. It's just a little dog bone snaffle. We use the long reins, and then when I'm riding, sometimes I'll run my reins through a training fork or a martingale, something like that, to help bring his head down. One of his other defenses, he picks his head way up high and tries to get away from. He doesn't like a lot of stuff over his head. He tries to get his head higher than that object. So that's another thing we work on, is to get him to concede and bring his head down below. All right, and one of the things that he was really frightened of is tarps or flags or stuff like that. So we spent a bunch of time every day just messing with him with the flags and the tarps and stuff, getting him to walk across it. Building his confidence is what we're trying to do. Not necessarily make a flag horse out of him, but at least build his confidence. And one of the big things I'm looking for is that he's not running away from it. If something scares him, like you can tell there, he's nervous about it. But what I like to see is that he's keeping his feet in place. He's not trying to run away, and that's what we keep looking for. If things get higher than his head, there he mouthed a little bit, and he was all right with me putting that over his head, and that's what we like to see. Even he lowered his head, which is really nice. We like to see that, and that he keeps his feet in place. So we've been doing a lot of stuff like that with the flags and riding them with the flags. The other thing a good flag does is it's got a good rip to it, makes a little banging noise. As a shooting horse, one of the biggest things that we fight is the anticipation. You cock that hammer and they're looking to get away. So with the flag and outside of him, that's what we're looking for, is that he doesn't anticipate running away. All right, and another thing is, of course, we're making a shooting horse, so the noise of the gunfire. We'll work on the anticipation with the flags and our arms outside and the dry fire into the guns. But then we also have the actual noise that upsets Whiskey sometimes. So we got this here. It's the cheapest way to make gun noise. You take 1x4s on a hinge and you clap them together. And you can annoy the mess out of a horse all day long for free. Walk around them. Again, we want to see him give in a little bit with his feet so he's not looking to get away from. And even the lower he drops his head like that, he's conceding to the noise. We give him a little break every now and again, and we tell him good job. And that's over and over and over. You can do it while they're eating. And here I'll say, you can see he's up a little bit, like he's just a little nervous about it, but his feet are staying put. He's mouthing a little bit. And that's what we want to see. And every now and again, just console him and tell him, hey, we're still friends, and it's all good. That's a couple of things we do on the ground for this particular horse, for Whiskey, to help build confidence with the anticipation and the noise. All right, so now the same thing. We'll go over the same things we did on the ground. We got the flag on him. Again, I'm going to go all around his head, and then we're going to do it at a little bit more of a pace at the trot or the canter, and let him carry that flag out to the side of him, anticipating the arm out and the guns out. So now same thing with the clamping boards. I'm gonna make sure that he's relaxed with the noise before we get to the pistols. Again, we're all about building the confidence. I'll start off with a light clap. You see how he gets a little nervous? Picks his head up. As you do enough of it, he starts mouthing and dropping his head down. That's what I'm looking for. Then I can pick the tone up a little bit to where we're at a good crack right there. I'm gonna go ahead and canter and do it. You can see there that with whiskey, the noise is less of his problem than it is the anticipation. So we're going to work on that. All right, so then riding with whiskey, we got the training fork on. We run our long range through, and one of the reasons is whiskey likes to ride with his head up. He wants his nose out a little bit. So we wanted to get him to flex in the pole a little bit, and that'll help bring his head down where we want it. Helps round the back out, get him a more even lope, canter, trot, even stretch out his top line. And he'll be able to use his butt up underneath him a little nicer when we go to turn him. And that's the other thing we're working on, is getting him to sit on his butt. He wants to hit on his front end a little hard in the turns, which makes it pretty uncomfortable. So that's a couple of things we're working on with whiskey. Every time we're moving along, I just want to touch his face and make sure that we got it. He's a little tough in the mouth. We're going to keep working on softening him up. And some of it's going to really be critical that he flexes his face and gives at the pole where he's vertical. That's going to soften his mouth up just to get started. So when we're trotting, we want to make sure that we keep him round like this right here. The training fork helps. And I just, every now and again, if he starts coming up, I'll ask him, hey, can you bring yourself back in here? And again, working our legs. If I move with my right leg and my right rein, said he's side passing to the left good. And then we do the same thing to the right. We'll just use our left leg and our left rein and get him to move a little bit to the right. That way we get full control of the hindquarters and the ribs and the forehand. All our turns should be on the haunches. If I go to turn to the right, I want him to sit on his haunches and come around there, move around with the front end. Same thing to the left. He should come around the front end, should walk around every rear end. All the time. All right, we're going to work on the canter. Whiskey's got an awesome canter on him. He's really smooth. Just keeping them together. He's a little stiffer to the left on the left side of his face, so he likes to kind of stick his nose out to the rail. So we're working on that with our inside leg and our inside rein, keeping him round like he is right now around my leg. I'll start off on the left lead. Just squeeze with your right leg. Whiskey's up right now a little bit. I'll just tell him, hey, bring your face back to me a little bit. So I hold, touching his face a little bit, driving with my leg. And he's a little stiffer this way around my left leg. To the right, left leg. Go. Go. There we go. And to the right, he just moves a little softer and a little quieter. Right, so then after we get them warmed up good, we'll start doing some dry fire, and we went through the clapping boards and the flags and stuff. And you can see how his disposition changes, the whole expression changes. As soon as we pull the gun out and we go like this and cock the hammer, I mean, his head comes up, he gets ready to go fast. So that's what we've been working on as far as desensitizing with the clapping boards and the flags. With his biggest problem is with anticipation, not so much the noise. Once he gets used to the anticipation, you can add the noise. It's not that big a deal. And also, as you add speed, it turns it up a little bit more, so his anticipation gets greater. So we're going to canter and dry fire a little bit. Settle him in here a little bit. You see how he changed his expression? The biggest thing too is that his speed doesn't change. Whatever speed I'm asking him, that's where I want it to stay. If he gets a little nervous, it's okay. Just don't run out through me. Now he's starting to relax a little bit. Got a pretty loose rein on him. All right, so now we've done the dry firing and anticipation a little bit. So I got a loaded gun here. We're gonna do the same thing. I kind of dry fire a little bit with it. I'm not actually dropping the hammer, just easing it down and letting him hear that. And then I'm gonna discharge and we'll see what he does with the noise as we add the noise and the smoke. Again, we get a little jump, a little bit of the noise got him, but not too bad. It's more that right there. He's nervous already. We hadn't even shot. There's a little head flip in there with the noise. So that's pretty good. We're going to go into the canter.